gonna be downstairs.
Okay, I'm just gonna start a new take. Whew. Here we go. Hi Stonewall. I'm Onyx Evie. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. Glad to have you. Today we're going to be diving in on the Wise Guy. Now, I'm going to be rounding out the main core of any 5-man band today, but the Wise Guy is a hard character to talk about and a hard character to write because they are very fluid, malleable, and changeable. If most characters are some sort of food, the Wise Guy is a pizza. You can change this pizza to anything that you want because of how easy it is. They are very easy and simple characters to change up based on what you need for that dish or this course. It's very malleable, changeable. You need to roll the dough into the pizza you want. I do not know anything about making pizza, if you cannot tell. That's one of my blind spots in information. But the Wise Guy as a character is very changeable based off of the story you want to tell, the location, the world. So trying to define any given character as an actual Wise Guy is hard. There are pure Wise Guys, but when it comes down to characterization, a lot of the time Wise Guys take a little bit of everything from other characters. Another name for this archetype is the Jack of all trades, because that's what this character is. They're more about what they cannot do more than what they can do. This character is kind of all over the place in characterization, because they can be anyone. If you're dealing with a quartet of characters instead of a 5-man band, there's not going to be a fourth character that's a Wise Guy. The fourth character is going to be anyone else other than a Wise Guy. Most of the time, the Wise Guy characterization in any small group is going to be divided among the rest of the team. And even then, if it's a full traditional 5-man band, even with a Wise Guy there, the Wise Guy is going to be very different than the next Wise Guy in a different 5-man band. And oftentimes, the Jack of all trades is defined as the 5th wheel, which is different than the 7th wheel, which is different than the 9th wheel. The wheels are very different depending on the number of characters that you add onto it. I'm telling you, I'm not insane. But when writing a Wise Guy, there's going to be pitfalls that, as a viewer of mine, I really, really hope you never fall into. So let's dive on into that part before we get into the writing of one of these. So here's what not to do when writing a character. Pitfall number 1. Forgetting that this is an actual character and not just an exposition machine or meant to do everything. This one kind of can divide up into two different sides, but a Wise Guy character is going to have a lot of information inside their noggins. They aren't going to know everything, however. Having a wise character who knows everything about a world, but not much after that, is going to have problems because that character can be replaced with a dictionary or a random NPC that the group meets, or divided among any of the rest of the group. So you didn't have such a big cast with a character that gives you nothing. And an exposition machine character is not necessarily bad, it's just a bug that you can kind of spread out into the rest of the story. A character that's just there to give all this information is not a character. It's a cardboard cutout of the author explaining the world that they've made so meticulously and well crafted for their story to take place in. You never want the audience to be actively aware of the author telling them the situation, which is something that happens a lot with this type of character. On the other side of things, giving this character too much information to work with. Sometimes a character who's smart is not going to be this automatic smartest in the world. Sometimes a character that is smart is only smart in a few topics that are plot relevant. And sometimes a character that is smart is not going to have a solution to every single problem just because of how smart they are. character, the smartest character in the universe, as a normal wise guy, is going to drastically downgrade the amount of threat you can actually throw at them. It's kind of the smart guy version of can he beat Goku? While Goku, as a powerhouse-based main character, is very, very powerful, he's not the most powerful character in all of fiction. Not even in his own universe. I stand by that. He is very strong, however. The wise guy version of this is can they beat Batman? Now, Batman is a very intelligent character. I wouldn't necessarily call him the wise guy of the Justice League. Yes, he's the only one that truly fits that archetype. But I would call him also a Lancer to a lot of the other characters, and more of a detective-based character. Detectives and wise guys go hand in hand. Kind of just depends on the POV of the day for any Justice League media. But the wise guy flip of this is can they beat Batman? The thing about this is always prep time. Prep time or a Sengun to the face. A wise guy is going to lose in games of wits on occasion. This shows growth. This shows a lot of things. That does not just mean can they beat Batman? And yes, there are several characters that can beat Batman. Prep time this. A character who is intelligent is not going to be the most smartest and intelligent person in the world. They are going to have limits. They're going to have blind spots to their intelligence. And they're not going to be an exposition machine. If you want to make a character who's an actual character, and not just a Chekhov's gun of intelligence, and not just an vast pool of information, because these are the two extremes of this type, you have to make sure you understand this character. And that's where Pitfall 2 comes in. Being unable to write intelligence. This is definitely a problem that a lot of writers have, myself included. Writing intelligence, especially a character that is more intelligent than you, is hard. Especially if it's a topic that you know very little about. As writers, as producers of media, it is our job to do research. For the love of all holy cheese, do your research. Go to peer-reviewed articles. Go deep into information that you know little about. Don't just put the words quantum physics in front of everything, or atom, or anything that makes sense. You need to actually do research on how this stuff works, or you're going to end up with a universe that makes no sense, even if it's supposed to be taking place in our universe. Do your research on a topic, or don't delve into that topic at all. Whew, got a little heated there for a second. Writing intelligence is hard, especially if you're writing a character that is more intelligent than you. Now, I know most of my audience is made up of very intelligent and amazing people, especially if you're subscribed. But that still means you are not going to know everything. No one knows everything. And a lot of the time, you are going to need to grow your information and your understanding of topics as things move on. We are living in a day and age of media, people. We got information at our fingertips. We got stuff. We got information to do this research that we can, to write intelligent characters who know what they are doing. If you don't know a lot about a topic and you're trying to write about it, do some research on it. Ask an expert. Do an interview. Do any amount of steps that you can to find it. Always do research on information you don't know anything about. That'll make writing intelligence-based characters so much easier. Writing intelligence is hard because it's hard to put yourself in a headspace that you are not used to. That's something that's hard with writing any character or becoming any character for acting purposes. But you should think through the thought process of how a character would do some things. A character that's naturally intelligent does not automatically mean they are very enclosed, closed-off introverts. Plenty of extroverts are very intelligent. Plenty of introverts are pretty dumb. It's not how they interact with other people that changes their intelligence. It's their intelligence that is what they are. You don't need to make a character the token smart guy by making them unable to interact with other characters. Thinking of the cast of The Big Bang Theory, most of them are scientists or very intelligent people in their own right. Each of them have their strengths, each of them have their weaknesses. Sure, most of them were nerds, but each of them had their own situational awareness to given situations, minus Sheldon. And whenever they had a pitfall in their knowledge, they actually had to do research and grow in it. Because all of them would be classified as a smart guy cast, minus Penny. She's basically their powerhouse. But writing intelligence gets so much easier if you actually do the research on what this person's smart about. And now there's the pitfall of forgetting to show your work. This kind of falls into most of the time detective or mystery-based storylines or shows. Now, I cannot watch most shows that are dedicated to solving crimes, especially if they're big-name agencies. Look, I just can't watch those because I will absolutely ruin them. My mom has banned me from watching several shows alongside her because I absolutely ruin them. I got that from my dad, apparently. But I will ruin a show if it's not doing what it actually needs to do because it doesn't know how this stuff actually works. But it also won't explain how it works. Detective-based shows are going to need to catch the audience up to speed along with the rest of the characters. If a character solves a problem, they need to catch them up to speed. Think of most Sherlock Holmes stories, or most any show revolving around solving crimes. A good one will show the thought process of the detective solving the crime. A bad one won't explain it and will just say, here it is, without giving any evidence. Now, there are several other things that will make these shows terrible. And I still find it funny of picking them apart to my mom's dismay. Love you, Mom! But when a show is not doing what it should when it comes down to the topic that it is actively talking about, and not doing its work of making sure that the audience understands the character thought process, you will be breaking 2 rules of how to write a wise character. You'll be breaking the second rule of do not make a character that is a character that is a smart guy and you forget to show the thought process of, but also not showing the information that you know about it, is going to basically limit your audience to people who can put up with whatever drama you're dishing out. And even then, some more are going to leave and you're not going to get that many seasons. But smart guys, the pitfalls mostly involve of writing them so that it makes sense, writing intelligence realistically, and making sure that you show the audience that you have done the thought process of these characters. The solutions to these are pretty simple. If you have a character that is super hyper intelligent, but you are just using them as an exposition machine, have them get some information wrong, or have the character have something else other than just them being smart. Give them other things to do. That's why this trope is called the jack of all trades, and along with being the smart guy. These guys are supposed to be a jack of all trades. Who would have thunk it? The solution, other than that, for the same problem, is instead of having a dedicated character that's just supposed to be intelligent and exposition-y, divide it among the other characters. And instead, you don't need to always have a 5-man band. Sometimes a 5-man band really limits storytelling in some capacities. You can drop down a 5-man band to a quartet, or even a golden trio, if you just cut down the wise guy to a different character. or split it up among the characters and have them each have their own intelligent thoughts of different topics. Or have the wise guy also be the mentor figure. They're not there all the time and are most likely going to die in the second to final act, so it shouldn't really matter that much. So the solution to the other problem of having trouble writing intelligence, other than just do your ding-dang research, people, is also making sure that the limited intelligence is not just a limit of the writer, but it is also a thing that the character can improve on. Not everyone is going to know everything, and this is true for characters. A solution to the pitfall of not showing your work is show your work. You don't need to handhold your audience to get from point A to point B, but don't have us doing mental gymnastics to try to find the solution that the character's reached when you, the writer, didn't do that mental gymnastics in the first place. Don't have us do the work that you didn't do. Now for the last and final pitfall that is going to make me very, very peeved. Oh, you thought I was done? You thought just because I gave you the answers of how not to do the other three, there wasn't a fourth hiding around? No, there is a fourth. I just saved this one for last because I'm going to be mad. This one makes me mad. Very, very mad. And this is not just a skill issue on the writer's part of not doing their research or forgetting to make this character an actual character. No, this is a deliberate choice by the writer. That is so easy that you don't need... When a smart character shows up, the other characters don't need to get dumber! Okay. Most characters are going to have some kind of intelligence to them. Even the dumb ones are going to have their smart moments. Average intelligence, average common sense. So don't lobotomize your characters and make them lose that when the smart one shows up. Urgh! Why is this done so much? It's not that hard. Oh, it's flanderization at its finest. Making the characters worse when the smart one shows up. Sorry. Whew. Sorry, that one gets heated for me a little bit. A smart character is going to be very intelligent. That's basically where they come from with this. But you don't need to make the other characters, who've probably up to this point been a lot smarter before this character showed up, so much dumber. So stupid. Just because they're not the smart one. You have many options that do not involve dumbification of the other characters. Just because the smart one is here to do the smart things, to say the smart things. You don't need to flanderize characters to make the others look good by comparison. So, stop it! Whew. The solution to not making the other characters dumber is just making sure that you keep their intelligence level. This is easy to see in storytelling because it's an easy outwriter's take to instead of going through the legwork of making a character seem smarter, they just go through the easy work of making characters dumber. Seriously, if you are actively taking this route in writing a smart character, don't write the smart character. You already have characters that have shown that they are smart. Just have them do something, or make a character that makes sense being smart without making the other characters look like idiots, like ignoramuses, like completely another dumbasses. So, yeah, that one gets me really, really mad. Do not make characters look dumb. That's just plain and simple. It's like the reverse of the Worf effect. With the Worf effect is making the strong character seem really weak in comparison to another character because they get beat. This effect happens when you make a character who's normally very average intelligence, look like an ignoramus just so that the smart character can do the smart things. Don't do this. Stop it. Get some help. So now we can actually talk about the characters that fall into this archetype. Now, a smart character is going to be molded by the world and story that they are in. A character in any crime genre is going to be a detective, a problem solver, very intelligent-based character. Think Sherlock Holmes. He is a great example of an intelligence-based main character. He works with the others around him to solve the case and takes them on a step-by-step basis of how he solved it. He doesn't walk into the room and automatically solve it. He goes through the legwork in the game of chess to try to get it solved. Plain and simple. Meanwhile, a character that's in a more dystopian or cyber world, they're probably going to be a little bit more street smart. If you're heading off a galactic republic or any sort of bad dictatorship, the wise guy is probably going to be a smart, street smart type character, or even a disillusioned mentor figure. They're smart, yes, but most likely they're going to have a lot of snark to them. They're not going to be gentlemen most of the time, or if anything, they're going to be gentlemen thieves. If you're a thief-based show, the smart guy is going to be the character hacking into this. This is Player from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Amazing show. Do some work. Watch it. That's your homework for today. Go watch Carmen Sandiego. A character who's behind the screen most of the time is going to have the limit of not being there. That's what makes the wise guy and jack of all trades even out a little bit. Because while they have a lot of amazing information on several different subjects, they are going to have some pitfalls. For the hacker type, they're not going to be there in the building to do it. For the street smart type, most likely they're disillusioned with this world and very nihilistic. For the top of the class, coming of age stories type smart guy, they're going to have a lot of holdbacks and fear of failure, which gets inside their own head. That's what's holding them back. In any superhero-based shows, they're going to be the ones with no powers, or their powers are going to be telepathy, or mind reading, or future sight. Most of their powers aren't going to be combative or fist-based, because that's not who this character's built around. I'd actually like to see a superhero movie where the archetypes of their powers are switched. That would be really fun, honestly. But a character who is a smart guy is often going to make their own powers because they're probably the rich one. Or their powers are going to be based off of their strategy. Think Tony Stark from Avengers. Tony is, well, dying most of the time throughout his story. He has shrapnel in his heart. His solution? Build himself a new heart, a heart reactor, which is basically a little thing in his chest that is running his body, and make himself a $1 billion supersuit that he improves with every mistake he makes, because Tony Stark learns from his mistake. If you don't know that joke, look it up. It is hilarious. But there's several things that will define a jack of all trades automatically. And being one odd one out from the group, whether it's they're not there physically or they have no powers. And they're also going to be defined by they learn from their mistakes. If any character's main defining characteristic is going to be that they are going to learn from their mistakes and not make them again, or deeply regret any mistakes that they make, it's going to be this character. Because most likely, they put it on themselves to be great at anything that they're good at. Sokka from Avatar The Last Airbender is a great example of this. While Sokka, as a character, is the only member of Team Avatar, minus Suki, that cannot bend, he often is making up for everything else, without his bending, by being an amazing strategist, a great leader, and a brilliant inventor. He's the one that came up with the subs for the invasion. He's the one that came up with the entire invasion plan. He's the one that found that the solar eclipse would make the firebenders' powers just disappear. But the one thing that never changes is his ability to bend. He even has an entire episode of how he feels out of place and like he's a burden to the rest of the group because he cannot bend. Most wise guys are going to go through something that makes them feel like they're holding back. So they feel like they have to compensate for the skills that they lack. A smart guy who is a member of a team is probably going to feel like they are holding the others back when they are actively the ones keeping everyone together. They have skills that the others don't. Like Sokka can read maps like no one else. He's the funny one. He's the ideas man. He's the guy who's coming up with a plan and doing the automatic vibe check. The wise guy is going to have a great vibe check and bullshit meter that the other characters don't. They'll know when a trap is a trap and when a trap chest is not a trap chest. The wise guy is going to be very hard to fool, and it's a big accomplishment if the villain pulls this off. Or the wise guy is going to be the one who reveals that there is a traitor in their midst and knows that who the traitor is and is on their tail. A wise guy is often going to be the one to break down information or digest it in a way that makes sense. If you're able to trick the wise guy, you fool the entire team. The wise guy is also a character who's not only defined by what they cannot do, but also learn from their mistakes. But they also will probably classify themselves as the fifth wheel. Velma from specifically Mystery Incorporated, this is not really a thing in any other Mystery Gang, Scooby-Doo type thing, but in Mystery Incorporated specifically, started feeling this way a little bit deeper into the series, that she kind of the odd one out from their friend, with Scooby and Shaggy always off doing their own thing, while Velma is kind of just there, and Fred and Daphne did date, and are often having more chemistry than she is even when she's paired off with them. So whenever she does do stuff alone, she normally gets stuff done better, but she still feels lonely, and how she actually feels like she needs more friends, or friends separate from her main group. She classifies herself as the fifth wheel of the Mystery Gang, and this is something that she does grow from, but she still kind of feels like the odd one out. Now, I'm going to get into a different video, the difference between the fifth wheel and the seventh wheel in a group, but that's a completely different thing, and has a lot of different archetypes on top of it. But the wise guy, if you need someone to feel like the odd one out, they're the one to go to. Because while the protagonist is grappling with the idea that they are going to have to defeat the world on their own or whatever, the heart is focused on giving everyone hope. The Lancer is being edgy or something, and the big guy is just being a sweetheart. The one that's probably going to feel like the odd one out at any given point is going to be the wise guy. Because it's a common trope or character arc for the wise guy to have to try to find their place in situations. This is very common in sci-fi media, where the wise guy is probably some sort of computer AI, or a robot or something. A wise guy character is going to feel like they need to find their place. And oftentimes, if the powerhouse is a normal, just very strong character, the wise guy is going to be the one that feels out of place due to something. The wise guy and powerhouse often get paired up and often sometimes switch characteristics depending on it, because while the powerhouse is very based off of the power type and the problems that the team is going to be dealing with, the wise guy is very world-based and story-based. And while the Golden Trio, the core of the group, the Heart, Lancer, and Hero, respectively, are going to be teaming up together, the big guy and the power and the Jack of all trades are going to be an automatic duo that makes sense. So it makes sense that they will occasionally switch tropes. A trope that they will often switch between is being a one of a kind. Superman at the powerhouse of the Justice League did have his one-of-a-kind type thing, but again, like I said in that video, he wasn't the powerhouse he kind of is a powerhouse, but it's not the powerhouse of the Justice League. He's more of a hero leader archetype, like I said in that video. Check that one out if you want to see. But a last-of-a-kind type character, which I'll probably talk about in another video, has a lot of archetypes around them, and if you want something interesting to happen between any character, you will do this. So, if the main character is not a last-of-the-kind, and the powerhouse is not a last-of-the-kind, the next person that's going to lead up to is probably going to be the wise guy. Why the wise guy specifically? Well, it kind of just falls that way. A way to explain why this character is so intelligent, or why this character has so much boundless knowledge. A specific type of android, or specific race of knowledge gatherers. A character who is a last of a group or last of a civilization is going to have specific things related to it. So if you have something interesting you want to do with a character, or a wise guy, making them a last of the kind is very easy. So since the jack of all trades is kind of hard to write in the first place, this is a common thing. So that's kind of where the wise guy is the odd one out in a group, because most likely they're not even from their world in some cases, or they just feel that way, like there's a wall separating them from the others, theoretically speaking, or metaphorically. Any arcs relating to the wise guy could have their knowledge tested, them trying to plan ahead but failing, them getting into their own head, or them missing very crucial information, or them hiding very crucial information from the others, and the others turning on them and blaming them for the situation. With the wise guy being such a malleable and changeable character based off of the scenario that you put them in, there's not really a one-size-fits-all case for them. It's just, what information will the characters be needing to deal with? This is the case for any and all wise guys. Now, I have to talk about what happens if a wise guy gets too wise. Now, a character who's going to be smart is going to have a lot of information on them at any given time. That does not make them the smartest person in the room at every single time. Because if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room at some point, or you're just misunderstanding your own knowledge. You don't know everything. Again, you don't know everything about everything at any given time. So while a wise guy might be very smart in their own right, that does not mean they'll beat everyone in a test of wits at any given time. While Batman is a very intelligent character, he's not necessarily the wise guy of the Justice League. Most of the time, he's more of a planner type archetype, or just a very intelligent and calculating character. He's a strategist more than anything else. He's more of a lancer than he is anything else. So calling him a wise guy would kind of feel out of place. Calling the Flash a wise guy, considering that there's so many different types of Flashes, also feels out of place. Because a wise guy is not necessarily going to be the most intelligent person in the room. They're just going to be the best at the subject needed. That's why in an ensemble cast, characters are going to have their own wise moments outside of just being designated as the smart one. Sometimes, even if you have a cast that's 5 or bigger, you don't even have a wise guy character that's designated as such. Because most likely, every character has their own intelligent moments. And even if you have a smaller group, you could still have a wise guy. Hermione Granger is a great example of a 3-man band, a golden trio wise guy, even though there's only 3 of them. While Harry is a hero and and pulls that really well, Ron is juggling 3 different character types 2 different character types at once, as being a kind and strong heart-based character and an occasional answer to Harry or Hermione, depending on who he's kind of bickering with or kind of trying to get more information out of. While Ginny is the powerhouse whenever she's around, Hermione is the wise guy. She's a very intelligence-based character, but Ron and Harry also have their own intelligent moments. Harry is a very is a very practical knowledge-based character, where Ron is a very street smarts character. While Hermione is the designated smart guy, it does not mean Harry and Ron are dumb. It just means that they suck at school, which, fair enough, not everyone is cut out for the school system, and because it's so linear and so broken, it hasn't changed since the Industrial Revolution. A wise guy character's archetype is so malleable, so changeable, that there's a lot of stuff that you can do as the character outside of just the character being smart. Because most likely, you have other smart characters. Other characters having smart moments, even if there's no designated smart guy, is important. Because even the most dumb characters in existence are going to have the time where the brain cell finally hits the right part of their brain so that they can actually think for once. It won't happen every single arc, but it will happen at least once in your story. And it'll feel so great for us as the audience to see a character who normally has 0 common sense have 1 common sense. Even for a moment of how they will be this guy. Not every character is going to be a smart guy, but not every character is going to be an idiot. A lot of the time, people are just good at different things. That's the whole idea of a wise guy character. It shows that a character is better at different things compared to others. A wise guy in any media is going to define what the world is, and it's going to be our insight to it. It's going to be the definition of a character who's good at other things. They're a great role model because it shows you don't need to be good at the exact same things to be a good guy, to be a hero, to be anything. In a fantasy setting, a wise guy character is going to be a wizard or some sort of magic insight on how this power scaling works. In sci-fi, they're probably going to be a robot or some sort of AI connected thing or some kind of tech wits. In any sleuthing or thieving show, they're going to be the one behind the monitors. In any crime show, they're going to be the intelligence gatherer hacker dude or whatever. In any coming of age story, they're going to be a tutor or a mentor or a teacher. A wise guy is so malleable, you can spread them into any mold of any other character, and they will fit that role perfectly, and probably a few others without problem. A wise guy is a utility belt. Use them. So, I'm going to leave that there for today. Tell me what you want to hear more of in the comments. Tell me what you think about this video. Tell me your favorite moment of this video. I would like to hear that, please. Well, that's my thoughts. Tell me yours. Tell me all of yours. I like to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. As well as today's question, what is your favorite wise guy in storytelling? And why is this character your favorite? Tell me your thoughts down in the comments. Again, I like hearing your guys' feedback. I'm not sure I can say that enough because I don't think I can. Tell me what videos you want to hear next, because I have a few in the works. I'm probably going to take a break from character archetypes for a little bit because I've talked a lot about them. But you're going to be hearing a lot more from me. I'm still trying to get a schedule out. Going to try to get that out sometime. Well, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And subscribe if you did. Ring that bell so you can see my next videos. And I'm off to fight the moon. Till next time. Bye!